There's a famous study, 80% of consumers in the UK could recall the brand of like British Airways, right? But when they were about to book flights, it was like 80% recalled, EasyJet or Ryanair. It's the only champagne I know the name of, other than the ones I've heard in rap songs.
They've actually trademarked the orange.
Woo! Oh, cheers. Yeah.
This comes up a lot in advertising. There's this sort of focus on reach and impression or very top level metrics. So are there any sort of vanity metrics you see a lot, and what should we be measuring instead?
I was very suspicious of that whole world initially, right? Because like I said, I was suspicious of marketing in general, like whether it worked or not. And then I saw in the numbers that it did. I see that happening a lot, right? Like you have big companies, they just buy campaigns on impressions, right? On programmatic display, and they're getting ripped off. Like, I mean, even sophisticated companies like Uber, they got defrauded for tens or it was like hundreds of millions or something, just because like the impressions that they were serving were like actually being served to real people. That's a sophisticated, difficult problem, and none of us are scientists really. Like, we like to use the words of science, but there are very few actual scientists in marketing, and the ones that are, they're like, in kind of lecture halls, they're not talking about TikTok ads, right? Like, talking about TV ads, so not as relevant to like what the mainstream marketers are kind of doing day to day. And that's through no fault of their own, because the science isn't there yet. Like, nobody's really done that many scientific experiments on TikTok yet, so that's fair enough. But like, because we're all marketers, we know how to market like the findings of what we saw. So I think we're, as a profession, like especially prone to p-hacking, right? Because like, yes. We know, like, we have a good intuition for like what our clients are gonna want, and therefore like we try and like make the numbers look rosier, or try and like hide like the bad news in the footnote somewhere.
And that's where we get into political territory. I'm like, what metric should we be measuring is kind of what I get a lot, and I'm like, well, there's stages, and there's correlation between these stages, from like maybe something very high level, which is a reach or impression metric, all the way through to am I aware of the brand, through to like am I aware of the brand and the product they sell, which is a big jump often.
The brand salience is a good one. So it's like, it's not just enough for them to be able to recall your brand, but like, do they think of your brand when they're about to buy something, right? Because there's a famous study. It was like 80% of consumers in the UK could recall the brand of like British Airways, right? But when they were about to book flights, it was like 80% recalled, EasyJet or Ryanair, right? So like, it doesn't matter if they like know your brand if like they don't think about it when they're about to book something. I think it is kind of valid to to track reach as like a proxy metric, but just not take it too seriously. Actually, like the biggest case for brand advertising I saw was when I worked at travel zoos.